All right, so around a month ago, Sneako announced he was done making red pill content because he claimed it was dying, and I guess he realized his fans were a bunch of losers. But he's still continuing to preach all the same red pill stuff, so not much has changed when it comes to that. But what has changed, and the reason why I think he's trying to separate himself from the red pill stuff, is so he can try to get away with making the same exact content that he's been criticizing and calling degenerate for the past couple of years. So I guess he's trying to transition into that kind of content, but it's hilarious because he hasn't even stopped criticizing it. I mean, he will still call people out for doing the same exact thing he is now currently doing. I mean, I would say it's almost impressive how good he is at grifting and how he's managing to pull this off. But also at this point, most of his audience has to be little kids. Like once he announced he was done with the red pill stuff and he called his audience losers and he started hanging around this kid, I would imagine any adults that were watching his stuff probably checked out at this point. So I don't think any of his fans are really going to be calling him out or calling him a hypocrite or anything. But it's just hilarious that this dude went from saying this only a year ago.
Possibility.
This shit is, it's just like the Bang Bus. What is the difference between this and a video literally on, I could say it, they've already said it, on Pornhub? What's the difference? This is the lead up. Everybody watching this, like all the kids watching this, I wanna...
We stopped because we're getting.
And then just recently, Sneako did a hot tub stream with that same exact girl from Mike's video. And what's even better is he still criticizes Mike for it. Just last week, he was calling him out for basically doing the same exact thing that he's now doing. But Sneako will think of any way to justify it. And funny enough, I think one of the ways he justifies it is by calling out the other people that are doing it. But Mike actually called him out on this, and I actually got to take his side for once. You know, he's totally right here. Sneako is definitely a hypocrite, and he has no right to criticize Mike anymore. And seeing Sneako trying to justify doing the same thing Mike's doing but doing it in the right way, I guess, is so funny. I mean, he says it's okay that he does it because he's going to donate all the money he gets from the stream to a foundation that helps promote Islam. I mean, this whole thing is just so funny. I'm sure that foundation loves being associated with this kind of stuff. So Mike and Sneako ended up having a debate about the whole situation, and I'll get to that here in a second. But first, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Factor. This is one of my favorite services because, as I'm sure you're all aware, I'm lazy and I hate spending my time cooking and then cleaning up afterwards. And my cooking is not very good. So having fresh meals sent to my doorstep every week with Factor saves me a ton of time and effort. Also, the food is really good. I have not had a bad meal with them yet, and it's ready to go in only 2 minutes, so it makes everything easier, and it gives me more time to sit around watching TV and work on videos for the channel, so it's helped out a lot. And their menus are updated weekly, and they include over 27 different meals and over 33 add-ons, and you can choose from your favorite meals, or you can let Factor decide based on your taste preferences and meal history. So if you're interested and you want to get started today, head over to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 2lazy50 to get 50% off your first order. Again, that's factor75.com. Use code 2lazy50 and you can get 50% off your first order. Alright, so Mike and Sneako were arguing about the whole thing, and I think Sneako eventually realized how dumb he sounded, so he just resorted to randomly asking Mike how many genders there are.
I'm giving all this money from this stream directly to the One Message Foundation. That's an Islamic foundation that does street dawah. So I don't make money from OnlyFans. So I don't take a percentage, and I don't promote porn. You actively promote porn.
No, I don't. I've never made a single dollar off an OF girl or porn in my life. I hang out. I do exactly what you're doing right now, which is hang out with girls to create content and humanize them as people.
Well, here's why it's not the exact same thing. You actively tell your audience that porn is bad and that you shouldn't watch it and do not subscribe. I say this every single stream, every single day.
No, I don't do that. I let people make their own decisions. You don't believe that a percentage of your audience, after seeing these girls do jumping jacks with their titties out on stream today, are going to go and look these girls up and jerk off today? Just answer that question flat out.
He's kind of absolutely right. There's a lot of people that are going to do that, but they know what I stand for and they know that they're folding by doing it. That's why I always say that they're folding if they watch porn. It doesn't seem like you even have a stance on anything really specifically. I see you talk about these issues all the time. I don't even know exactly what you stand for, what you believe in. You kind of talk about a lot of things.
I stand for personal responsibility and personal decision making. I stand for not telling people what to do with their lives. Go ahead.
You're a Christian. How many genders are there?
You're asking me. You asked me
Mike.
these loaded. Let me
Mike.
answer this, Sneako. Stop,
Mike.
because it's gonna get clipped. It's gonna go on fucking TikTok.
So of course Sneako changed the topic there because he realized this wasn't looking too good. I mean, for him to act like just because he says it's bad and you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't watch it, then that's going to change anything. I mean, that's ridiculous. And if this is what he wants to do, I really wouldn't care that much. But the fact that he's trying to act like he's this religious person and he has this moral high ground and everyone else is being degenerate and destroying society and he's doing things the right way somehow is just such a joke. I mean, this guy's basically like, all right, I have some adult film star on my stream that's pretty much naked, but did you not see my tweet earlier? I said not to watch her work. And he's really going to act like that makes up for it or does anything. And I also like how he says, my fans know what I believe in. But I mean, dude, you don't even know what you believe in, so how are they supposed to? I mean, this guy is just the best. In less than 24 hours, he went from doing a prayer stream at a mosque to doing a hot tub stream with 2 adult film stars with 70,000 little kids watching him who are all probably making these faces.
It's like all the kids watching are, I wanna.
So other than Mike Malak, Andrew Tate also called Sneako out on this stuff. And, Sneako and him were good friends at one point, but now it looks like they had a falling out because of this, and Sneako unfollowed him.
If you're not particularly skilled and you're not particularly talented, what you have to do is attract attention. Streamers, the majority of them, are not insightful, intelligent people. But if you're a 23-year-old idiot, all you can do is scream into the void, do dumb stuff, be a moron, and if you get enough views, you can manage to make some sort of career. And I think everybody at home knows exactly what I'm talking about. Are they stupid or are they haram for hanging around with OnlyFans girls? Well, OnlyFans girls need attention to sell their OnlyFans, and losers need attention to sell their stream. And none of them have any talent. None of them are insightful. None of them have any wisdom or life experience. None of them have anything to teach you. Birds of a feather flock together. So my answer is, in this attention economy, unfortunately, on the race to the bottom, while everyone does more and more stupid things to get views, I don't think I am ever going to be surprised by how low they will sink. And if hanging around with an OnlyFans girl is going to get them some attention on the internet, they're going to do it. Same as they're going to do anything else to get some attention on the internet, like degrade themselves endlessly, scream at a camera, be clowns, be morons, sip lean, whatever crap they do to get views. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I agree with that for the most part, and I'm glad Andrew Tate is calling them out, but also, I mean, where would he be without OnlyFans models and cam models? And I'm not saying he'd be nowhere in his career. I know he's a professional kickboxer, which is really impressive and everything, but I don't think he got much fame doing that, and I'm pretty sure he said he didn't make much money either. So I don't think Andrew would be anywhere near as relevant as he is if it weren't for cam models and OnlyFans, because flaunting his money and cars and his lifestyle was a huge part in his success and becoming relevant on social media, and he only has most of that stuff because of his cam model business and selling courses on how to get into that business. So he really doesn't have that much of a right to talk, and of course he's only against it once he's capitalized on it as much as he possibly could. But I mean, I'm glad he's changed his tune, even though it might be too late. And also, if he wants to call out Sneako for making content with OnlyFans models, I mean, Fresh and Fit kind of do a similar thing, like maybe not to that extent, but I mean, they have an OnlyFans models and they'll talk about how they're destroying society and how bad that stuff is for people, but then they promote their Instagram accounts, which always link to their OnlyFans. And I would imagine the only reason the girls go on that podcast is so they can promote their stuff. So Fresh and Fit, Sneako, and Andrew Tate, they could talk about how bad all this stuff is and how it's destroying society. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're really just contributing to it. Like, I think the red pill movement has only made things worse. I mean, it definitely hasn't helped anything, that's for sure. And I think that's what Sneako realized. So that's why he just doesn't really care at this point. He's got one foot out the door. He's barely hanging on to the red pill stuff. But Andrew Tate, on the other hand, he's getting more serious about it and he's calling people out. But I doubt it'll do anything. I mean, I don't think he has the influence he really used to have, and he could go to jail. And then also Sneako, he's only gotten bigger in the past month once he changed his content up, so I don't think he's going to be looking back. And Aiden Ross, who is like Andrew Tate's #1 fan, I don't know if he really cares that much either anymore. I mean, Andrew tried to mentor him at one point, and that was a complete disaster.
I'm done. I fixed you.
Not playing around this time. I'm 22. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to understand that, and you know it did.
Yeah, so as you could tell, he was really committed. I mean, you'd think if he was that obsessed with Andrew Tate, where he's sniffing his chair, then he would at least listen to him and try to do some of the stuff he told him to, like start working out and get in shape and get off drugs and stop hanging out with OnlyFans models. But of course, none of that happened. And a year later, I guess he's drinking lean all the time. He's all out of shape. And he immediately started making content with OnlyFans girls again. And of course, he's hanging out with the same girl that Mike and Sneako were hanging out with. You cannot get away from this girl. It's crazy. But Aiden actually did have one thing he's proud of that he couldn't wait to tell Andrew about when he got back in touch with him a year later.
Every time that I would masturbate, I would think of you. And I'd be like, nah, this is not right. I'm going to stop.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so that's the influence that Andrew Tate had on Aiden Ross. And Aiden Ross is like his biggest fan, but that's the best he could do for him. And that's the only thing he had to say to impress him. And I'm sure Aiden was thinking about Andrew Tate when he's doing that stuff, but there's no way that stopped him. And then with Sneako, I'm sure everybody saw what his fans were like when he ran into him the other day.
Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman!
What? No.
All gays should die!
Yeah, merch, preach.
Yeah, so even Sneako was freaked out by that, but now it'll probably be mostly kids running up to him and saying the same thing that Aiden Ross was saying to Andrew Tate, because Sneako just had his biggest stream, 70,000 kids were watching, but of course, like Sneako admitted, most of the kids were doing this. And I feel like if Sneako keeps heading down this route of being anti-OnlyFans and adult film and all that stuff, but then also basically promoting it at the same time, eventually he's going to start rationalizing it by thinking, you know what, I'm a better influence than most of the other people making this kind of content, like Mike Malak, and kids are going to be doing this kind of stuff anyways, so if they're doing it, it's better they're thinking of me and watching me while they're doing it, because they know I don't stand for it. And I mean, he's already kind of reached that point. That's basically how he justifies it.
There's a lot of people that are going to do that, but they know what I stand for, and they know that they're folding by doing it. That's why I always say that they're folding if they watch porn.
Oh yeah, Andy uses porn stars so he can raise money for Islam. So it seems like he's got it all figured out. All right, so that's about all I could take of this. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this mess. And then make sure you go check out my Patreon account. I have a ton of exclusive content on there. I post a video every week that's about 20 to 30 minutes long. And I recently just talked about Russell Brand getting canceled. And I talked about Jimmy Fallon getting canceled. And I talked about how Tom Segura's producer quit the podcast to avoid running a marathon. I also talked about Tim Dillon when he went to war with some Airbnb owner, and there's just a ton of other stuff on there. So make sure you go check it out if you want any extra content, and then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.